Greetings, true believers. We just got a brand new trailer for Deadpool 2. Yes, that is the official title. And our sharp-eyed experts have gone through frame by frame to spot every detail you might have missed. Maximum effort. Let's do this. We kick off with a familiar scene. Deadpool's sort of sidekick, Dopinder, is sitting in his taxi while Pool himself has gotten into trouble. Those don't look like supervillains, though, or even henchmen chasing him, so this feels more like a comedy aside than a full-on action scene. It could be an homage to the early scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark where Indy is chased to his plane, yelling to his pilot to get it started, because, after all, references to 80s movies certainly aren't out of character for Deadpool. As Dopinder reels off Deadpool's traits, we get a mini montage of some far more violent goings-on, beheadings, fighting in stiletto heels, all the usual stuff. We also see DP's girlfriend Vanessa, who, after a quick misdirect where she looks unimpressed, is still clearly very much in love with Wade Wilson, even after all the scars and kidnappings. Deadpool's line about rounding up all the gluten in the world and throwing it into space is a nice nod to Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, except, you know, with gluten instead of nuclear weapons. Now here's where things get interesting. It's pretty clear that Deadpool and Vanessa are destined for each other, but it seems like Deadpool 2 is going to be a rocky road for the both of them. Josh Brolin's character Cable is after the still unnamed kid, played by Julian Dennison, who you might recognize from Taika Waititi's Hunt for the Wilder People. Later in the trailer, we hear that Cable wants to kill the kid, not just take him. Given that Cable's usual story involves coming back in time from the future to prevent an apocalypse, we'd make an educated guess that one version of the kid goes on to cause some serious mayhem. Wade either doesn't know who the kid is or is confused as to why Cable would want him. We'd take a guess on the second, given that Wade and the kid are both in the same luminous yellow overalls and at various points in the trailer are both wearing the same ominous-looking collars. Are we looking at a mutant internment camp of some kind? X-Men movies have certainly explored this concept in the past. Whatever the reasoning, we can see that Cable expects to get what he wants and that his robotic arm is strong enough to knock down even a superhumanly strong mutant. Let's also take a moment to point out the best ever from the studio who brought you intertitle card, Sublime. It seems as though Vanessa wants to take her relationship with Wade to the next level. Maybe the kid will let Deadpool try out being a father figure? We really wouldn't put it past Ryan Reynolds and company to have a baby Pool at the end of all this. We also get a quick glimpse of the kid's powers here. We've seen in previous trailers that he seems to be the more fiery kind of mutant, but not the scale of the destruction he can cause. Those scorched lines in the earth suggest fireballs have been thrown. It's been speculated that Dennison's character is Pyro, who's faced off against Cable in the comics before, and that's looking more and more likely. Though Pyro has been seen in X-Men movies before, that's not going to stop the makers of Deadpool from creating their own version. After a brief montage of shots, we get our first look at some other mutants. Negasonic Teenage Warhead is back with a tall new hairdo, but Shioli Kitsuna's new character is more mysterious. You can tell from her outfit she's officially part of the X-Men, and while the purple hair might make you think she's another version of Psylocke, we're going with Surge, a Japanese mutant with the power to wield electricity. Dopinder's here too, and it looks as though something disastrous has happened to his beloved taxi. We also get confirmation that Colossus is back, hopefully as more than a sidekick for Wade, but it looks as though the X-Mansion will remain mysteriously empty. How else would Deadpool get to mess around with Charles Xavier's chair? Incidentally, Professor X is an Obama fan. In our first shot of TJ Miller's returning Weasel, Pool confirms that we're going to see the first movie X-Force lineup. The X-Men universe's equivalent to a Black Ops unit includes Surge, Zazie Beetz as Domino, and Terry Crews is there too in the role of Jesse Bedlam. You can clearly see his name on this shot of what appears to be potential X-Force candidates. Weirdly, the most prominent person in the dossier is comedian Rob Delaney, playing someone named Peter. Perhaps he's Peter Wisdom, a dark-haired secret agent with mutant powers who was affiliated with X-Force in the Marvel Comics and also trained Bedlam. After Deadpool himself names the derivative X-Force, we see what seems to be a 5-hero lineup. We're not sure who the two in the back might be, but that appears to be Pennywise himself, It actor Bill Skarsgård as a member of the team. But which one? Perhaps he's Chamber, or Solo, or Richter, or Zeitgeist, or maybe even Dr. Nemesis. You'll notice he appears to have a face mask around his neck. Or perhaps he's Garrison Kane, a cyborg who was part of the Six-Pack team in the comics who has a rocky history with Deadpool. We're pretty sure that's Shatterstar in the back on the right. In the comics, he's a time-traveling expert swordsman for Mojo World and was one of the original members of the X-Force. In any case, from here on out, it's all action. Base jumping, outnumbered fights in Japanese bathhouses, and fights against what look like the asylum attendants. Also, Deadpool is wearing a strange bit of fabric around his neck. Is that to cover up the collar we see him wearing in the next scene? And it's probably just color grading, or maybe he's just covered in dust, but it really looks like Pool is wearing a version of his gray X-Force suit here. We get a brief look at most of the main characters in action, including a classic Deadpool's head is on the wrong way gag, and then there's something intriguing. This brief shot shows Cable getting blasted with some sort of weapon in what seems to be the facility the Kid and Deadpool are in earlier in the trailer. That might even be Dennison's character on the floor to the right. That definitely seems to be some kind of prison that Cable's broken into. Then we get a shot of Pool in a fetching X-Men sports jersey, a frankly disgusting kill, and naturally a joke about the sisterhood of the traveling pants. The post-trailer sting brings a meta-joke about the film itself, but we still think Wade is talking about Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants here because there's long been speculation about a third movie. The sting is finished with what looks like Ryan Reynolds genuinely laughing at his own joke. It's adorable. Anyway, that's what we saw. Have you spotted any clues that we might have missed? Be sure to let us know in the comments below, and for more of IGN's Deadpool 2 coverage, make sure to watch the full Red Band trailer as well as our breakdown of the first trailer. And for all things Deadpool, trailers or otherwise, make sure to like and subscribe.